dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, the Pisces life. Two fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life, 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 the Pisces life.
Hello, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Listen, welcome to 2022 and welcome to yet another edition of the Pisces Life, still transitioning to survivance.
Yes,
Be on the
ma'am.
lookout for that this year. Sis, we don't even have time to play with it. So much in the news. Keep your butts at home. Omicron is out here. Flumicron is out here.
Yes.
This thing is mutating faster than we can say corona. It's just really tight out here. Numbers are on the rise in Chicago and Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
We encourage you to stay safe. Please get vaxxed, boosted, do your part. And if you ain't going to do either one of those, at least stay masked up. You don't want to stay masked up when you're at home. Just stay home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just do something to help out that's helpful. But being unmasked, that ain't helpful.
No.
Being out in mass crowds, that ain't helpful.
Just do what you feel is necessary to keep yourself safe. If you don't feel like you need to do anything to keep yourself safe, then you should probably stay away from other people.
It's real simple over here.
It's super simple. Don't come bring your coronavirus over here in these parts of my space. Keep that over there where you at. I know your coronavirus is over there. And that's why I haven't been to your house, because you didn't had it 2 times now. How lucky are you that you now have had it 2 times? Your whole family has had it 2 times.
2 times.
Are you tired of being sick yet, friend? Are you tired? No.
I'm telling you, it's just not a good look. Other things that are in the news, let's see. We still don't have the right to vote solidified just yet. I'm quite concerned about that. Today, at the time of this recording, it happens to be the great Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King's birthday commemoration. It's a federal holiday, etc. And we may not have the right to vote if these people keep playing around. The voting rights situation has not passed.
I still don't understand why this is even a thing. It's 2022. Why are we still talking about the Voters' Rights Act as if it's still not required? And the reason why that it's still required is because people be acting up.
Yes.
People act up. Voter suppression.
Mm-hmm. Redistricting without proper gerrymandering is what they call it. Yes. Redistricting without any proper justification for it other than to disenfranchise and disavow people of their power.
Absolutely. Racism is still out here. Newsflash, just in case you thought that after living in a pandemic for 2 years, after the death of Brother Ahmaud Arbery, that kind of kicked off this hypersensitivity to the fact that this is a racist space that we continue to live in and pay taxes in. Racism is still out there. Just down there in the South Carolina, someone hacked into one of the Department of Transportation safety signs, the digital sign, to change whatever the warning label for safety was to honk if you hate the N-words.
Oh, wow.
So the Voters' Rights Act is necessary because it protects us. And if it wasn't such a big deal, if it didn't hold such power, then why wouldn't it just be ratified to always be present? And that we didn't have to vote on it ever again.
Right. It really should not be a question, and it should not be threatened in our lifetime.
Absolutely.
Sis, those are things that we are in the news following and keeping up on. So many new shows have come out and will be coming out. And one of our favorite shows is wrapping up. And that's what we wanted to do today. This is our review of a Ready to Love Reunion Part 1. What's up, nephew Tommy? We hope you feeling better and got all rid of the COVIDs.
We are really, really putting you on the prayer list and holding you up, good brother, because it was not fun to see you remote into your own show.
True, very true.
And I could just tell by the color of your skin, the color of your eyes, that you were not well 100%. That Rona had got down on you. Now, we don't use a good, strong brother, as they say.
Strong Kappa scrimp.
Kappa twirling the cane scrimp, smooth with it. But we need you to get better soon, because we know that these Ready to Loves has got to franchise to other places. We just finished, we're wrapping up, as you said, sis, the DC season. But we know that there are other folks who are ready to love in Chicago, in the Detroit area, in Memphis, Tennessee. There's some Ready to Loves that needs to be placed into the the viewing universe. So nephew Tommy, please get better. Take care of yourself. I hope that you and your wife and your entire family is doing well and is safe and healthy in this time.
Absolutely. Now let's jump into it. So last Saturday was the first part of this reunion. And sis, it did not disappoint in terms of the content, the explanations of some things, the tone, the energy. Oh, honey, they were ready for it. Let's sit down on the couch first. There were some people that I had totally forgot about. Liba was one of them. She had gotten dismissed so quickly. She was in the running with Carrie and Shiloh, Liba, for the attention and affection of Mr. Tyrone. Mr. Tyrone, the little shy computer guy with PTSD.
Yes.
Oh, side note, sis. Every time I see reality love-based shows, they always put a personality type like a Tyrone in there.
Yes.
And I want people like that to have love, the more introverted, the more complicated emotionally, etc. But I always feel like at some point, I don't want it for my entertainment value.
Yes. Yes.
And that's where the line is for me. Tyrone shouldn't have been on this show, bless his little heart. He was not ready or in a space, I think, to handle cameras, and to do that and trying to find love. I can't imagine what type of stress it induces for those who are comfortable in a two high-rod job like a Frank. Frank is in the beverage industry. Frank gonna turn up the heat when he's in a room on his job. He's that person.
Correct. He is that person. Tyrone suffers from PTSD. And I think that there is some sensitivity and care that should be taken when you have those type of people who have experienced such trauma that leaves the mark on their life. And I'm not sure if this circumstance was the right one in absence of some type of mental health support. And I think that should be part of it for all of the folks, whether you put PTSD on your application for the show or not. And certainly, I'm not saying that the good brother Tyrone doesn't deserve love. Certainly, there is a kindred spirit awaiting him, if not already have met him, who is going to be tender enough, supportive enough, and loves him through those tough times. But I don't know that the women who signed up for Ready to Love DC had signed up specifically to be that type of caretaker, caregiver in such a short period of time.
Absolutely. To go along with that, one other person, Mr. Naeem, he was the same way. I didn't even know he had a voice until the reunion part 1 when he wanted to mistakenly speak up by tearing the other women down by trying to elevate Miss Zadia. Now, sis, probably my 5th moment on the show that really stuck out to me, and I put it at 5, was when Naeem spoke up for Zadia. Zadia. Me and Zadia could never be friends. Me, her, and Camille, we would be on, what's the one, Bad Girls Fight Club? We'd be on something else. I couldn't deal with that. But what bothered me the most in that moment, my number 5 moment from the part 1 of the Ready to Love reunion, was the way he did it. First of all, you came out of nowhere with this comment on a couch. And the way you finessed it was, she was everybody's number 1 Ooh. I had to go back to that first episode to be like, was she really that girl? I don't remember her having the juice like that. And the way her little face was, her and Camille in these faces. I am also a face maker, but having watched these two, it's done something to me. It really has. I don't want to be the queen of the stank face because it's not cute. It is not cute. But I looked at Zadia's face while Naeem was making a complete fool of himself.
Complete.
And it was like, do my dirty work, you little minion. Do you hear him? I am the object of imperfection. Girl, it rubbed me all the wrong way. And I wanted the brother to hush up. I also liked the reaction that was from the other ladies, like, really? What you not gonna do up on this stage is dim my light so that this one right here can shine like that. Because I'm very glad in that moment. There was some very decided things that had happened and very obviously clicked up in this that was happening. Sabrina, Aisha.
Can we go back to your 5?
Yes, 5. Yes.
I just want to. No.
No, you're right. Help me, sis, girl, because we get excited. See, this is a real show, people. This is a real relationship, a real conversation. Go ahead, sis. Sorry. Stay on 5. Okay.
We are on 5, which is Naeem.
Yes.
I agree with you. I was like, why is he here? It was like, is he here to model African fashions? Because it seems like he showed up a lot with some of those African fashions. Were they authentic? I don't know. I would hope so, but maybe they came from the Amazon. I'm not sure. He just had a lot of them. His name is Naeem. Is that his real name? Did his mama name him Naeem, or did he find the truth and the light later in life? Nonetheless, he was very quiet during the season. And admittedly louder during the reunion as he, and I loved how you phrased it, did the young lady's bidding. I too did not remember that she was everyone's first choice. It was a process, and by she we mean Zadia. I was unaware that everyone was googling, noodling over Zadia. And I'm not saying that didn't happen. She's a beautiful girl. Like this never was about, at least from the other women, how the other women looked.
Correct.
But Naeem was doing Zadia's bidding. It felt very rehearsed. Now, I'm going to give you a good Kai Love real world example of how I know that was rehearsed. My husband sits on the board of directors for my family foundation. He holds an officer position. If you ask the good brother, what does he do for the foundation? It sounds more like, hey, I do stuff. I help my wife out. I take a couple notes. It's cool. We do good work. That is what he would naturally say. I have worked with him as a officer of my family foundation to be able to deliver the elevator speech, which says, my name is, I am the board documentarian. I am responsible for not only ensuring that we have clear, concise documents for our organization from the founding until present. I also am the recorder of all activities of the board of directors. I am also the person who verifies employment. Like, that was rehearsed. We rehearsed that. That moment with Naeem and Zadia seemed like people who share a bed.
Or a pillow from time to time.
Or a pillow from time to time. Rehearsing what needs to be said. And it was like almost like a safe word or a symbol. Like, if I hit your knee 3 times and flick my hair, that means unleash the rehearsed narrative.
Correct.
School these women who think they had it going on when it was I that had all of the men's attention. And now you, Naeem, look at me, Naeem, look at me. You now hold all of the power because you have the forbidden fruit. Take a bite. Take a bite. Sounds much like Eve. If I could, provide a comparison between Adam and Eve and Naeem and Zadia, excuse me. That's what I think it feels like to be in their space, in their shoes, in their voice. Brother, first of all, you sounded really, really petty when when the good sis said, somebody give him a peach. Sis, I fell out because that analogy that he was being as messy as a housewife.
I was immediately back in the scene with Nene telling Peter, get him a peach.
Get him a peach.
Stay out of women's business.
Stay out of women's
Peter.
business. So Naeem trying to make it seem as if the women did not like Nadia because Nadia was the men's choice was so inappropriate, so incorrect, and really was divisively designed to take the heat off of Nadia not being a nice person. She was being a mean girl and had connected with another mean girl. And the rest of the women on the cast were not having it.
They were not there for it at all. And that's what I was going into my 4th moment, sis.
Yes, please.
Was the obvious clicking up that had happened. It was obvious to me that Camille and Cornelius had, I believe, like you said, that same rehearsed, staged conversation. And I believe that Zadia and Naeem had also, I believe the 4 of them had decided that they were going to be that crew. I think that they may have wanted to put Frank and Noonan in it, but I think that their situation was already shaky enough. But those 4, for sure, decided it's going to be us 4 and no more. We going to ride and die for when we wrong together, and that's it. But there was also another clique that was going to clap all the way back. I mean, applause, bravo, stand up, encore. And that was Sabrina, Aisha, and our late to the party, but shook it up, Sydney. Those 3 for sure were on the same page when it came to, oh no, we gonna tell the truth up in here and shame the devil today. Okay.
Yes.
Moment number 4 was when it first happened. And I mean, Aisha was ready. She was like, if this hostess don't ask these here questions, if this hostess don't get here right now. So moment number 4 for me was when the 3 of them kind of rallied around like, oh, no, we gonna talk for real up in here today, Miss Tanika. I don't know. Listen, you filling in for Mr. Tommy and we wants to be polite with company. but we gonna get to the real today. So I appreciated that moment. Now, let me be honest. Aisha, I warmed up to her slowly. I did. She did not hit me real good off the top, but I grew to like her personality because I understood that she's a girl's girl. You know what I mean? She gets the vibe of women. Hey, girl, let's all look good together. And sis, you know what? Let me get your little Spanx tight for you. She seemed like that type of friend. You know, girl, your feet hurt. I bought an extra pair of flats. Here you go.
She does.
She seems like that type of chick.
She does seem like that. I warmed up to her immediately.
Okay.
Aisha was my Tandi from 2 seasons ago. I have always been attracted to the women on this show that seemingly get counted out because of something physical about them. The Mean Girls didn't like Aisha because they thought they looked better than Aisha. They thought they did. They thought that there was no way that any of these other men could be attracted to her, body, yada, yada, or not. And she had children, and she was previously married. So it was like, girl, 3 strikes you out. You not cute. You've been married before, and you have children. Girl, please. It was like they counted her out. And she was, to me, always trying to be logical and the girl's girl and honest. And sometimes honesty is
It'll cost you.
It will cost you. It's not very well accepted. Even when you're speaking your own truth. It wasn't as if she was speaking anyone else's truth. She was speaking her own truth. I also feel like that because she was absent from the dating space, that Aisha was trying to figure out what it looked like to date. And maybe that is why you didn't like her initially, because maybe she was too eager, too nice, too like, not only a girl's girl, but the homie. Too much trying to be the homie. And it's like, girl, what are you doing? Like, she was doing, to me, a lot in the beginning because I think she was just trying to figure out her way.
She was very clear on, how to make the moves to make connections. And I think that was the one thing that she consistently tried to explain. Now, let's go back through the season to that table scene where it all goes down. They have gone to the ranch for this weekend. They're kind of, looking at this point, in my mind anyway, who's going to pair off with who or who's really connecting with whom. We learned some things about other people in that space. But at that table, in that moment, when Aisha spoke up for the girls and was speaking specifically about Cornelius and Camille, she was absolutely right. Couldn't nobody look at Cornelius with himself and without Camille having an issue or some type of blowback with it. And he just stood there looking like, I had to really sort through what bothered me the most at that table in that moment. And if anything, it was that for me. Really?
Sis, the truth will set you free.
Come on.
And it'll also get you effed up.
Girl. So point number 3 from the highlights, just what you said, sis. Sometimes the truth can get you caught on up. And it can also be that moment where you're trying to be honest about who you are, what you've brought into this process, who you've connected with, etc. And Cornelius was a whole man there that people did not get the opportunity to see if he had anything else to offer. He himself, and this to me, honestly, was the most disappointing. He himself never could find his backbone, his tongue, his mouth, his ears, his eye. He couldn't possess his body, sis, enough to even circulate enough. That man on my TV, Looked like he was scared of a nuclear Black woman meltdown on national television that he did not want to deal with. There was one scene where I looked at that man and I said, I don't know what kind of mama he had. And I ain't into talking about folks' mamas, but I can guarantee you, based on the way that man shrunk up and shut his mouth, based on the way that man let that woman, Camille, put her 2 fingers in his nostrils and drug him around this whole process. She didn't even go for the calientes. She went straight up his nose and drug him around.
Sis, I was scared to look at Cornelius on the TV. Every time he showed up, I looked away.
Listen,
I was like, because Camille will feel that I'm looking at her man,
girl,
and she gonna send me a Twitter or something.
Listen, okay.
It was very apparently clear. There was no editing, because a lot of times on these pre-scripted shows or reality shows, they always say, "Oh, editing made me look bad." There was no editing here, sis. These were your words. You said, "My husband, my man." Oh, I see somebody over there with my man. I don't know if she understood that when you don't know people and people come off with that type of energy, and they talked about the word aggression and aggressive in this show, and the issues with aggression and aggressive being labeled on Black women, and further highlights the angry Black woman trope. So I tend to use energy, the type of energy, bringing forth a certain level of passion that sometimes is missituated. Camille had energy on her that felt like if you made a connection with Cornelius, she was going to fight you.
Ziggity boom.
Ziggity boom, I'm going to be in your face, similar to how Zadia put that finger up into that brother's face, that they had that type of energy on them. And who wants to be on national television and fighting? Because again, everything that you do is being taken into consideration as you're trying to make connections with other people. So Aisha fighting with Zadia or fighting with Camille certainly would not have fared well with the gentlemen that were trying to figure out if there was a connection there. So they chose to kind of just back away from the good brother because they felt like they had no choice to, because she had claimed her stake, as evident by the fact that when he was eliminated, she then self-eliminated. And I thought that when he got eliminated, that brother was about to be happy so he could go and get himself together. But oh no, she came with him. And when she said, there's nothing else left for me here, the brother didn't look like, that's right, baby, me and you.
No.
He didn't. He looked
on
like.
On my TV either.
Huh? On my TV, he looked like, wait a minute. What you saying now, sis?
We gonna leave together.
I ain't asked you to come with me now.
Now, don't do this on account of me. He looked like a little scared boy, like, oh, I thought I was going to get out, but you're going with me. He did not want that. On my TV, he looked like he did not want that.
Continued, sis, throughout this process before he got eliminated, saying to the camera, I have a connection with Camille. It should have been Camille got a connection with me, and I'm just going along with it. But
like Rasputia.
Exactly. But he could have. But he also not could have. He also was saying, but I'm trying to get into the process. I'm trying to figure out if there. No, Cornelius. No, there was no getting into the process, and you were not definitive. We saw the men's lounge or whatever they were calling it.
Yes.
You wasn't in there putting down your Stacey Adams size 10 boot, which was probably a bootay. a little bootay.
Your little bootlet.
Little boot. You wasn't saying Camille's the one for me, brothers, that y'all, back up away or whatever. You didn't say any of that. You was just like, key, she all up on me. But I'm here for the process. Are you, bruh? I couldn't tell.
I'm telling you, there was a moment where, like I said, the whole time he looked like, I don't know if his mama yelled at him or if he had an older sister that used to just jack him up, because he's the only man in his family. He has sisters. So I dated a guy like that before. When I tell you, I was tired of his mama and his sisters. Do you hear me? I mean, he could not make up his mind without a counsel with them about what we were going to do. And so when we no longer dealt with one another, that was one of the things that I told him. I said, you don't know how to be independent of that family structure in your relationship. And that is why we cannot stay together. Men also, like Cornelius, what bothered me, the other part of that was that and for me, it's a trust factor. If they were to run those confessionals back, if they were to run those one-on-ones where Cornelius himself, I mean, there was a few, his body language. I mean, the producer asked him in one of the early episodes, like, how do you feel? He was like, ooh, it's intense, Ooh. I mean, his whole, he wanted to be in that. He had no choice.
He looked lost.
He looked very lost. I think Cornelius would have been fine with a redirect from Tommy or from production that would say, hey, we've set up a private meeting with a couple of people that maybe you're interested in. Or maybe if he would have took himself to talk to Tommy instead of old Naeem. Well, I don't know that. Boy, go home then. Go home. We forgot you was even here. Who is this? Who is this? Casting? Who is this? But so that moment
that's such a good point, sis. A redirect. We know that the third wall provides some pointers, some sparks, sometimes some mess. Some of the times the third wall be messy. Sometimes you marry the third wall, Candy. Sometimes you marry the third wall. So what I'm saying is somebody should have redirected it. Look, give us the power. The viewers date, viewers choice date, where we say who got to go out on a date.
Oh, I would love that. I'd burn that phone up. I'd actually text in for something like that. I normally don't, but I would for that.
Because he should have. Just think if Cornelius had landed with some place that was tender, soft, accommodating, encouraging. Like, he's not the leader in that relationship with Camille. And if you are a woman who wants a man that's the leader, well, and maybe Camille wants to tell the man what to do to be the leader, and then he do it. Maybe she got the right one. Maybe says we are projecting what we think is free will onto Brother Cornelius, and Cornelius didn't want to be free willy.
Girl, listen.
He wanted to be willy locked down.
Listen, I'm going to just tell you, sis, I'm going to respectfully disagree. I think if somebody had offered that brother a lifeline, he'd have jumped on it with both feet, both hands, his whole soul. He would have jumped on that lifeline. I honestly believe that. I think that the brother is just caught up. I think that it's going to be he will be in that relationship forever until she decides not to be. That's just where he is. He might be the type that we know somebody, one of our friends, he was like, oh no, I left for work that day and I had my own apartment across town. I said, He said, that's how we broke up. I left when the lease ended. The furniture was rent to own. I told them, y'all can go pick it up. I left. You know, he might have to just leave like a thief in the middle of the very night to get away from that one, because she ain't gonna let you go. I mean, he would need to consider a lot of different things. And I mean, she called him a country bumpkin. He couldn't say nothing. I mean, you know, she was in his face. I was uncomfortable for the brother, really.
When she made fun of the other women who were doing what they came there to do.
Yeah.
Which was get to know people and make connections. When she made fun and did the voice, he's so fine, you're so handsome, and you do with your dumb country bumpkin. And she went right to, like, do you know this man? Last I checked, you had just met him too. So how are you exalting yourself to be sophisticated and understanding the love process, and he is less sophisticated and don't know what his body or heart wants with his country, which means not as smart, not as sophisticated. Why calling him country? That was an
insult.
An insult. That was not a compliment. She is the cave woman of that relationship. She took her club.
She hit him a few times.
Bounced him on his little round head. So much so that he showed up with a Gordon Gartrell shirt on and some fronts.
As the internet let him have it about. Ooh.
Absolutely. And
girl, my favorite one is somebody said he looked like Captain Crunch.
She hit him with the club and was like, "You my man." And he was like, "Am I?" And she hit him again. And he was like, okay.
What's my name again? Cornelius Camille. Cornelius and Camille, we go together. Cornelius and Camille, you're mine. Cornelius and Camille sitting in the tree. I love her and only her, and she loves me. I mean, that's immediately with a brother. Sis, you there?
Oh.
Sis, he got with that program real quick. Where's the Kool-Aid? I need some more. Where is the Kool-Aid? Woo! Honey, she socked him up with that whole biscuit. You hear me?
Sis, that was good to me.
Poor thing. Now, point number 2, child.
Yes.
Point number 2 probably for me was that whole menagerie. That was the elephant that wasn't in the room. Not that I'm calling her a big girl now. Don't get that. Don't say that now. But honey, Miss Shiloh said, I'll pretend like I wasn't ever on the show. Shiloh did not come because Shiloh did not want to see her package where she sits down with Tommy. Then when she sits down with Phil on his own, and Shiloh did not want to relive that for the reason that she still wasn't chosen, which I think precipitated all of thine things that happened around that. I was not in that alley, but I've been to DC after dark. I don't care what, it could be an alley in between the White House. It's very safe. You ain't safe there.
It is eerie and strange. Anyone who's ever been to the DMV over there in the M Circle and whatever, DuPont Circle, what?
Yes.
Child, scary. Okay.
And especially at the nighttime, and especially at that hour of the nighttime.
At the nighttime, under the influence in the nighttime.
Boom. We'll never know what truly happened there. But what I do think, which was point for me, was the moment where we looked at the couples that did try it and tried to make it. So that's Phil and now Sydney. That's Frank and Munin, which Munin shut that down. She was like, Now I was going to be polite here, but you didn't follow up. You didn't come through. You didn't go. Frank did these interviews where he was talking about he had PTSD from the show, child. He didn't want to date nobody. He didn't know if he was ready and all of this. No, it didn't go the way you thought it would go. It really didn't. And I can't imagine what it would feel like for you to be in that position and you're trying to date around, you're trying to see if you have connections with people. And maybe when you thought that you were holding all the cards, a guy that none of them guys saw Phil as competition. They didn't. They really didn't. I don't know. Now, if anybody had everybody talking, it was Phil. Phil had multiple situations going on and was managing them pretty well up until the Shiloh incident. But even that wasn't enough for, people to back away from him. People meaning Sydney. They looked happy. They looked good. But I think it would last for him longer than it would for her. I don't see her really staying with him that long. Frank and Munin, I never thought was going to happen because Frank is too much of a party girl. I don't care party guy, excuse me. I don't care what happens. Church girls and party guys never make it unless he wants to come up out the party or she want to come up out the church. I have not seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. And as a church girl, I've tried it, okay? It doesn't always work. And if you're trying to save yourself for marriage, if you're trying to do those types of things, that's another personality choice or a personality, type or personal choice that maybe we have a reality show just for that. Maybe we're all virgins this season, and we're not going to, take that off the table or see how we navigate that. Maybe that's it, because when it's in a mix of everybody else, it's very hard to get drawn out. I was in a situation once in my young adult life, in my young 20s. We were living on our own, had our great booming ass jobs and doing everything that we thought we were big and bad enough to do. And we were hanging out with these guys one night. I mean, sis, if you need some casting direction, call me, because I'd find these brothers fine. Had they same thing, everybody was on equal footing, but when it came down to the get down and I wasn't down, it was my girl that cut it out, made a whole spectacle of my situation that I was uncomfortable with. But in that moment, the saying, good girls never win, we don't. The old saying, you can't, that's not what men want. Yes, it is. You can't turn a hoe into a hot wife. They do it all the time. Yes, they do. Don't tell that. I'll never, if a God ever bless me with a daughter, I will tell her the honest to God's truth. You will look around and the hoes will be fine. Okay? If that's what we're going with. And I'm being pejorative to make this point. In this space, this good girl wasn't going to win that. Now with Frank, nothing about Frank said that he would even be willing to embrace that journey with her because she was worth it for him. Nothing that we saw, not on my TV.
The only thing that I think that he found value in Lumen, and this is not that she's a beautiful woman, yes, beautiful, spirited, just really loved her as because even though she was clique adjacent with the brown girl squad, she still wasn't acting like a mean girl. The thing that I think Frank loved about Moomin was they had that African background.
Yes, that was big.
When you are African, born in Africa, parents may still live in Africa or came to America, but hold fast and strong to those African traditions. It is hard for someone who's been American born to date a traditional African person. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I did go on a few dates with an African gentleman, and it was very clear that this free spirit, this Pisces, we were not going to be able to ever be able to connect on that level, because even though I consider myself to be a very well-traveled person, was not a conformist to traditional African values. And that was going to be the difficulty for us to be able to move into anything other than a casual dating situation. So I think that Frank saw the African in her, and she found the African in him, and she thought that that was going to be impressive to her parents because and when now let me tell you something about the good brother Frank. If we got to cast a good African party bar owner in a movie, he's the one, because his tone changed, his accent came out when he met her family. He talked about his tribe and blah, blah, blah. So it's goodness is in Frank.
Yes,
goodness is in Frank, but I agree with you. There was nothing. They are at two different stages at life. He was, and you can own a bar, sis, and not be in the nightlife.
Yes, you can.
You can own the bar. You serve the drinks. You go. I know a husband and wife bar owners. They are not Frank or Sydney in that regard, and like they aren't showing up on flyers, or we own this neighborhood bar. It's Cheers for the southeast side of the city, and we pour well, the music be banging, and our chicken wings are legendary.
There you go. You got the makings of a good bar right there.
There you go. So I never thought that they were going to make it. I never thought that he was going to choose her. In my heart, I wanted them to work because of that African connection. And I felt something when he sat down with her parents. But I understood that was wishful thinking. I understood that if he chose her, that they weren't going to make it post the show.
No. I felt that way too. He was not going to continue that choice after the show, which leads me to like the number one moment of the night, which I still can't even believe. I rewatched this thing probably 4 times. Camille, dear Camille, you most absolutely fixed your face and said you would F y'all up. You said it, you meant it, and I cannot let you get away with denying it. My good sister, stop lying on the production from our good brothers, nephew Tommy, and our other frat brother, Mr. Will Packer Productions. Stop it. Also, let's not act like that ain't the energy, to use from my good sis, that you carry. When that clip was shown, when it was ran back, and you still fixed your nasty face to say, it wasn't me, it was editing, it was a voiceover.
That's not my voice. That's not my voice.
Tanika Ray said, wait, they hired an actress to come in and dub that party and for you, ma'am. See, at that moment, I would have been the host, and this is exactly what I would have said to her. Camille, look me in my face, because you ain't gonna lie on national television and tell me that ain't you. Let's stand side. Bring me the screen from the back and let us look together, because you're not gonna lie on these good people in this good owned network. Oprah don't deserve this.
Oprah didn't ask for you to lie on her people that she's employing. First of all, we all didn't need no screen to play back because we were there when we watched it and you said it, and everything from before that moment and after that moment until you self-eliminated, suggested, supported, exemplified, highlighted, shadow of doubt none, that you were not playing about him. You wasn't trying to talk to nobody else. You didn't want him to talk to nobody else.
Nope.
And you wanted it to be known that if you cross me and my man, my husband, my baby daddy, and my 3 other personalities, you gonna get effed up. We heard you say it while you was picking your teeth.
Ooh.
Now, mind you, I understand that you may not be a reality star before this, and you may not understand what a hot mic means. And maybe you were saying it to yourself. Maybe one of your personalities said it in the personality that was in recipient of that move didn't say, I didn't get that message. Since you said it.
Since you said it.
And we believe it.
And we believe it. Whew. Girl, and then Zadia and Naeem as well, and Cornelius. I didn't hear that. I didn't hear. Okay, let's roll it back for the slow bus here. Cornelius, when that comment was made, your face, you jumped back. You had a visceral, nonverbal reaction to it when it was said in that moment. But I didn't hear it. Y'all some deaf. You're not. You're not. Maybe everybody up in here got good sight and ears.
Maybe sis, when he put the grill in, some of the metal was leaking into his bloodstream and it affected his memory. Maybe his Gordon Gartrell-esque designer shirt was cutting off the airway of his nectitude, and he wasn't getting the proper airflow itch to allow him and to afford him to have good memory.
Honey, that whole mess at that reunion, I just could not believe that she fixed her face to say, I did not say that. I did not. And then all the little side chat comment. You see what they doing to me, Cornelia? You see what they doing? You see what they doing to me, Cornelia? Cornelia, you see what they doing? Cornelia. Girl.
Master manipulator.
Master manipulator.
Narcissist to the highest of power.
Sis, when they said that she was a teacher, I cringed a little bit because I couldn't have my baby in that classroom because you would not have my child talking sideways and acting crazy because I believe based on how you jacked this young man up into being in a relationship with you, I believe that you would be just as tyrannical, tyrant, if you will, with children. And maybe I'm projected, but I've seen the type, sis. I've seen the type, sis. There's probably a reason you've left or 3 engagements are in your past, sis.
All I'm saying is that there's something there that requires some attention. Some redirection, and some sat downedness. Set your butt down, sis, and work on some things, because I'm not saying that she is above reproach, not lovable. I'm not saying anything. She's a human just like you and I.
Yes.
But I believe that there is something there that we are not aware of that is one of the contributing factors for her behavior on this show. One of the contributing factors that she believes that she has to hunt, gather, and hold close to the person to ensure that don't nobody else get what's mine.
Right.
He's his own person. And if you were going to show up on day one and choose your boo, then you probably shouldn't even been on this show, because what you did was undermine the process. And we are the viewers. We are the people who are, tuning in to see the process. And we didn't get to see no process with you, sis. You eliminated yourself and him from process. What's to say, or who's to say that your person was there too, and you now have sent him home because you locked on to Cornelius? Oh, did I say his name? I don't want her coming
Right.
for me in this.
Well, I ain't scared. Cornelius. If you want to see me in my DMs about it, Camille, I will make a whole video of faces for you. Okay? You better be glad we don't release this video right now of us recording, because I can roll, girl. I can roll my eyes and stank my face up. Girl.
Well, your 5 was good, sis. Your 5 was good. Sis. I'm gonna bring my 5 now. Starting with number 5. Naeem was my number 5 as well. I don't know if you remember seeing this meme, sis. The meme is a white woman who is doing math problems in her head.
And the numbers is going, I know you, girl. Yes, I know that one. I know it.
And every time Naeem spoke in this reunion, it reminded me of those numbers floating. The good brother, I Am Will Johnson on Instagram, did a review of the Taco Bell chicken wings. And in his rant about the chicken wing, him being confused of whether or not the wing was a flat or a drum. And he looked to the heavens, to the Father, and said, Daddy, this is a spirit of confusion. I am confused. Naeem, this is a spirit of confusion. I am confused with why you had the audacity, the permission, the pseudo information, courage. You was taking a risk. This was like, this is my last segment. I got to make it count. Whatever. The fact that you decided that your theory was that the reason why your woman friend who was being mean to the rest of the cast, so this is their lived experience. What you did, Naeem, is discredit the lived experience of those women who spent more time with Zadia than you did on the show. Now, we're not talking about when things wrapped up. We don't know when the show wrapped. We don't know how long it's taken to get us to the reunion. I don't know the timing of that. But these women spent more time with Zadia, and you discredited their lived experience to base it on jealousy. There were 8 other women there. Beautiful, smart, accomplished, educated. And so all of them was mad because all of the men wanted Zadia. Well, then why didn't nobody fight for Zadia? Why wasn't Zadia in the last of the chosen few? Nobody wanted Zadia because Zadia has a spirit about her that is complicated.
Very.
And we all as women know that woman that pop off and then popped off on men. She may have popped off on you. You her bestie. We all know a woman that got that spirit of pop off, that big energy, that look at me. When Zadia doubled back to go back to the good brother to put her finger in his face, to tell him about himself and whatever the case may be, we all know that. We've seen that. That may have been us at some point in our time, in your time. So understand that what may have been an initial impression evolved into no impression.
Right.
And the rest of the fellas was quite okay with you getting her. I didn't see nobody fighting you on the stage. Naeem, lay down your sword. Zadia is mine. I declare.
That didn't happen on my TV.
That wasn't on my TV. And when Sydney said, somebody check him, I believe that most of the fellas, with the exception of Corey, maybe, God bless him, I think most of the fellas was like, we ain't about to get involved in these women conversations. Why are you talking?
Right.
So that probably was maybe their initial thought. And if that wasn't their initial thought, the second thought was, brother, we don't care about you enough. Like, we're just meeting you today. And by the way, nice African outfit. Like,
is that from Zimbabwe?
Exactly. Where did you get that from? Frank's people or Moomin's people? Like, which? Who was the vendor?
Right.
We like them. So stop it. So Naeem, you are my number 5 moment in this reunion recap. We don't really need to hear from you no more. Thank you for coming.
Thank you and good night.
And good night. You can take Zadia right on with you.
Please take her.
Please. And thank you. My number 4 moment, sis, was Camille and the Brown Girl Club that apparently has a Instagram page. Now, we are all brown girls in our shaded variations. Some of us, you know, are on what I would like to call the sandy side of the beach. Some of us are on the shaded side of the beach. We all good beach though, baby. We all good beach, baby. So having a title of a clique within a process automatically was going to make you seem like you were trying to be separate and better. If you watch the show on the CBS called Big Brother. Any Big Brother fans out there, listeners to the Pisces Life podcast, any Big Brother fans, me and my good sis Letitia, we love us a good Big Brother. We love us a good Big Brother. But the strategy on Big Brother that always comes out at the end was, we formed a secret clique and they named they clique whatever they named it. You and the other brown, Camille, you and Zadia, and again, by default, Moomin. I don't think Moomin was part of it. I just think that she was by default placed there. Formed something that was specifically designed to make the other women feel less than, not a part of, and to bring more attention to y'all. So just be honest about it. Be like, do I think it was rooted in colorism? I think that there are a lot of things in the Black culture and community that we've grown up with that we have to undo.
Yes.
So I am not here to judge them and harshly critique them about them stating that they were the Brown Girl Club, because there was probably a lot of trauma in that space, and that when they saw another darker complexion Black woman there, that they felt like, I have some tribe. Because depending upon what show, Flavor Love, Ray J, you know, goes to Vegas, or whatever the name of his little dating show was, there was always lighter skinned Black women that had the exotical look about them, always a good, you know, fashioning of Latino representation, you know, the Cardi B type, you know, Afro-Latina. And so I think that they were just looking for affirmation that they were brown and beautiful. And it came out as separatist activity. And their mean girl spirit just kind of solidified it as not the best move. And then going forward and putting a Instagram page together about it further solidifies, and I think confirms, that y'all weren't there to build community. certainly, or give agency or give voice. Y'all was there to be part of the look at me because I'm better than all of these other women that don't look like this or fit this particular aesthetic. So I brought it up as a moment just of my own, because my mother is very fair skinned. My grandmother looked white. So we in the family have always made the comments of, we gotta put my mom, not next to my grandmother when she was alive, because it would be too much light in the photo. Let's put them on opposite ends so we can balance out some of that. And so, and equally, my family members that are very dark skinned with that beautiful bronze like skin, and making sure they not next to each other, and just the things that we say within our community that we felt were okay, that we're just now learning, has been hurtful to some people in our community or whatever. And we all are learning and growing. But Camille and Zadia, don't do that no more.
Please.
And y'all should probably shut down that page. But you know what? Even if they don't, it's probably people who align with them and cheered them on during this season watching who would be the ones following that page. So
let them have it.
It's disheartening, but we see y'all. We understood what was happening. So that was my number 4. My number 3, sis, was the adding of the twist.
The twist?
Adding people after people had already made connections and things Sydney like that. Sydney and Sean.
Okay.
What? Come on now. I don't know if y'all have a consulting psychologist or psychiatrist or social worker or whatever on your staff, Tommy. If you need some people, me and the good sister Letitia are available. We are a good sounding board for decision making in business. Yes. So come on and get us here on the crew. But we understood that shaking it up and those other people not having as much time as the other people, and to me it felt very disruptive. And not to say that Sean and Sydney did not bring quality. Certainly they were both easy on the eyes and brought their own whatevers to the table. But it seemed like to me that both of them were more for eye candy. And it makes me wonder what was happening behind the scenes with production that they felt like they needed this twist. Was there not enough interactions? Were people saying we gonna quit the show because ain't nobody calling me, aka Sabrina? Like, what's the young lady's name? Isia. That's her. The last of what is? Let me get her name. Tisia. Is that Tisia? Tisia. I'm too grown for this. Y'all all over 40.
She said this was ghetto.
This is ghetto. Like, was there something happening where the production was falling apart and y'all was like, oh, we gonna bring in some new energy to hopefully kind of shake it up and re-energize what was happening, because wasn't nobody really connected? Like, I'm wondering what was happening behind the scenes from a production standpoint, because I didn't really like them bringing in the extra people. I would have rather see nobody make a connection, because that's something to talk about too, than to have, kind of these false connections kind of put together. So that would be my number 3. I think that's where I'm at. Number 2, and this is to my sisters.
Okay.
Sisters. I done been down to the Houston. I have been down to the Houston. I done spent a lot of time in the Houston. I know that they got hair, makeup. I done been to the DC. I done been to where was the first Ready to Love?
Atlanta.
I done been to the Atlanta, down to the Atlanta. I know that there are people in those places and spaces that can dress you, makeup you, hair you down. What, DC? Come on, DC. I done been the DC. I done been down to the D. There wasn't nobody in Silver Spring, Maryland. There wasn't nobody down at the Baltimore that could have helped with some of the makeup and hair choices. And like, I was so shocked. Y'all, some of y'all was showing up on TV like I did your little so
listen.
And you know, now my sew-ins be looking good for a non-professional. I just want, when we talking about as beautiful as we are along the diaspora of African bloodlines, as creative, talented, colorful, everybody should have been on there looking they best. Brother, what's the brother name? Tim? Why can't I remember nobody's name, child?
Who, Tyrone?
Phil. You mean to tell me they ain't had no barber near where y'all was?
Girl, not all season. Phil has been, girl, no.
Phil, come on, Phil.
Mm-mm.
You mean to tell me nobody with a sharp razor edge was able to get them peaks together on the side of your face? I don't understand how people are on the television in a series like Tommy. Now maybe this should be addressed to the nephew Tommy. Was you bringing did people just bring their own hair and makeup? You know, like we are spoiled on the Housewives because we see them at their reunion shows bringing they people
Floss.
Who do hair, makeup, somebody holding the dresses and all the rest of that. Maybe the budget is not that big. Maybe you got to come as you are, like Jesus say, come as you are, and we will accept you. I just wanted them to look a little better in their appearances. Not that they were like ugly people or whatever. They're fine, look good, great, whatever. But Sydney, you made it to the end. There wasn't no beautiful gown, something that could have accentuated your shape.
I like Sydney's gown.
With the sides out, you like that lime green?
Oh, I thought you were talking about what she wore the black to the reunion.
No. What she wore to the reunion. What she wore to the reunion, beautiful.
Okay,
whoever put that together for the good.
She was poured in it, honey. She looked good.
Poured in it like black silk. Yes, she was. I'm talking about the final scene. That lime green patchwork quilt cut out on the side with the diamonds. Sydney, with the side shot, with the like everything, and Phil, who had on a suit, they looked so mismatched.
Yes.
And yes, I understand that she's in the nightlife, whatever that means. In comparison to Sabrina's dress and Aisha's dress, and you can bring your own flavor. Aisha had skin showing, her back was out and all of that. You didn't like the blue dress?
Girl, I liked the blue dress, but I did not like the reunion look. She looked like an anime doll to me.
Yeah,
at the reunion. I
didn't like the reunion look. Maybe we should do a special around the reunion looks in comparison to how they showed up in the regular series season. I didn't like her reunion look either. I loved the end. That blue, look. That finale great. Look.
With that black hair, with that high pony, with the half up, half down. She looked regal. That was the first time that I really ever saw her true beauty all season long. She looked stunning.
She
That
looked
was the
beautiful.
look. That was the look she should have worn for the reunion.
She looked amazing, beautiful.
Mhm.
Now I didn't like her shoes, the little,
Oh, yeah,
fluffy flip-flop slipper. If it
yeah.
was just a little cute glass slipper with maybe a
Yes.
rhinestone band across the toe, I don't mind a
Yep.
good slide-in shoe.
Mm-mm.
But the fuzzy things, that's just not my taste. So I just wanted everybody to look beautiful. Sabrina, to me, best dress, hands
Mhm.
down,
All season
all
and the reunion.
season and the
Yes.
reunion. Sis, with that short blonde hair, I was
Girl.
4 seconds from cutting
From
all
doing
of
the
this
same.
and
Girl.
getting me some finger waves, boo baby, because Sabrina held it down for I would say, the seasoned auntie.
Mm-hmm.
The seasoned auntie was looking very good. So that would be my number 2. Now
Okay.
my number 1, Frank. For as articulate and expressive as you was all season, you had a lot of marbles in your mouth during the reunion. I wasn't my I went I needed to. I got PTSD too. Look, a bird. I mean, it was what Frank, what was you talking about? And you know what Frank reminded me of? And this is not to shame or to speculate or to put something on him that ain't of him.
Mm-hmm.
There is something happening on the inside of Frank that only Frank knows about. And when Frank lives in Frank's truth, Frank's will be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. People have talked a lot about what might be on the inside of Frank, based on some things that he let slip in an Instagram live interview.
Mm-hmm.
And, we wish that brother good will in trying to figure it out, because you need to be clear out here in these streets. You're affecting people's lives.
You are
really
affecting people's lives. I've been in the clinical space for a very long time. I understand what confusion shows up as. I also understand when you are trying to fight something that you are to be something that you think people want you to be.
To be, correct.
And I believe that Frank's representative is what showed up on the show this season. And what has happened since the season wrapped was, I can't do this. This ain't me. And so I hope that the good brother Frank finds his way.
We wish you the best, good brother Frank. We really do.
We do. And that's all I had for part 1 of the Ready to Love DC season reunion special.
Sis, we have been here since season 1, okay?
Yes, we have.
We've been here since season 1. We getting ready to head into season 5, from what I understand is going to be basically an extended part or recast again in DC. So we still gonna see a little bit more of the DMV area. Now, they were supposed to be going, I think that it's just one of those things where they've gotten it. I didn't expect another season this close together, but I think that speaks well to what's happening with this production, and that it has been a hit faster or bigger than I think OWN was prepared for.
Yes.
And so we're getting ready to head into another season. I mean, it's happening in like 2 weeks almost after the reunion airs, part 2. We will be ready for part 2. You will hear us again, because we got to finish this out. I am ready for the package where we go to the whole Zadia putting her finger and tweaking the nose of Dante. I cannot wait for that. I expect Aisha to get on in there and rumble like she do, but she's going to be so ladylike with it that Zadia ain't going to have nothing to say. I expect she'll walk off again, because Sabrina is going to have that back. Sabrina and Sydney are going to have that back. And so I can't wait for that. I also want to hear the resolution around whatever this nighttime pillow talking and passing around was going with Tizia, Miss Tizia, and Corey, I think might have been in the tipping and the tapping. I don't know, because the way the preview, now see, that's editing, Camille. See?
Mm-hmm.
The way it's edited, we're getting drawn into these clips. I don't know, but there was definitely some after hours. Is ready. That's what we need to do, is Ready to Love after hours. Show us some of these dates that they go on.
Please,
Okay?
please.
We can see.
So we can see. I agree with all the things that you said. I am very interested in hearing Corey's story. Corey reminds me of a clinical type, and I'll wait to see if it's confirmed once we get his story in the next part.
Yes.
But
girl, wait.
The tears, the falling apart on the stage. I said,
in that clip. Mm-hmm.
The Corey crying, and again, I encourage a good brother to cry. Like, they hold you in too much a lot of times, and sometimes those tears is cleansing for your spirit, for your soul.
Yes, it is.
Drink you some water. Make sure you take your little Tylenol, because your head hurting. After a good ugly cry, brother Corey, your head be hurting.
Yes, it do. Yes, it do.
So I'm interested to hear what his story is, and figuring out if that aligned with what my instincts are telling me. So
also, I'm waiting to hear about Walter. I want to know if Walter's little secrets is going to tip out. See, Pisces Life listeners, Kai and I are a part of a secret discussion group of the situation of the show. Ready to Love discussion group. We gets into it. And baby, when I tell you, people had Walter's tea in that room a little bit there. They said that Walter likes, certain after dark things. And that's why it ticked me off that he judged Sabrina for being a previous stripper in another life. I didn't like that. So I'm real curious to see if Walter's business is going to make it and how Miss Sabrina is going to handle it. Because I got a feeling she's been saving up.
She came ready to fire off. She was very feisty. I was tickled when the fellas said that Walter was up on stage like a piece of furniture.
Like a vase.
Like a
That
vase.
was from Phil. Like a vase. Oh, Phil. You're so damn fancy. Oh, Phil.
So that's all we have for y'all Pisces Life listeners. Thank you so much. We're going to have to do a thumbnail for this episode so that folks know that we're talking about Ready to Love DC. It's been a good, interesting season. We can't wait for part 2. We'll bring that to you at another time. We hope that you've enjoyed this recap. If you are looking for the show, first of all, you already know what a show is, because that's why you listen to the podcast right now. But just in case you didn't, had you a Gordon Gartrell moment like Cornelius and your memory is failing you, you can find the Pisces Life. We are on Instagram as the Pisces Life. We are on Twitter as Pisces Podcast. Please follow us there to get any updates about what we've been doing, to get any time a show posts, as well as updates on the Survivance Project. Sis, if they are looking for you, where can they find you?
They can find me on the Twitter and on the Instagram at IamJustLetitia. That's LETITIA. And sis, if they are looking for you, because they know you got this good advice. They know you got this Ready to Love perspective.
Yes.
You could have been that lifeline for Brother Cornelius. You could have been the redirect. You could have got them together, sis. Where can they look for you?
They could look for me trying to figure out where Sabrina shop at so I can get me one of them dresses, sis.
Girl, I wanted the necklace, that choker that she had on.
Just classy. I just love
jewelry.
Loved it. Mm-hmm. They can find me on the Twitter at Kai Love You, KAILOVESU. Or they can find me on the Instagram. Just add a 2 to that. Excuse me. Kai Love You 2, KAILOVESU 2, the number. We are out of here, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.
2 fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life. The Pisces life. 2 fish living in a dream. One swimming up, one swimming downstream. The Pisces life. 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 The Pisces